Hey, welcome back to the fine line between stupid and clever. And in this video, I am responding to somebody that left me a message from a previous video about making epoxy guitars. He said, hey, could you make an epoxy lap steel guitar? And at that point, I'd never played one before, didn't know much about them, looked into it, and I thought, well, why couldn't I make an epoxy lap steel guitar? So here it is, built off of a Rogue simple epoxy guitar, a simple lap steel guitar that you can get on Amazon for about 85 bucks or so. I built this epoxy version by creating a silicone mold and pouring it full of epoxy and just installing the electronics and stuff on it, and it works just fine. So if you're interested in such a project, take a look at the video. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any comments, just be kind. I don't really need you to subscribe. I've got a day job. And anyway, I hope you like the video and have a great day.
So I went out to the garage and got me some scrap wood, and I built myself a little box here that is going to be the mold for the silicone. You can see the outline of the body of the guitar underneath here. And I've got 2-inch walls built up. Those are going to be glued down with wood glue first, and then I'm going to put in a layer of caulk to make it watertight. Before then, I caulk down the body of the guitar inside of it and figure out how much silicone to fill in. So while I've got my mold box here glued up and drying, I have taken a little dollop of caulk and I've filled in all of the screw holes and hardware holes on the bottom, on the body, as well as at the headstock where the tuning gears go. The reason I'm doing that is that the silicone, when you make the mold, is going to get into everything. And if you've got transverse holes through the body, the silicone is going to fill that in, and it's going to create a bridge that makes it very difficult to demold the mold from the guitar, and you end up having to like stretch those and cut them out. So the nice thing is the mold will still have little imperfections in the area where every screw is, so it'll be easy to see where every screw goes with the finished product. So now with the box all glued up, I have taken painter's caulk and ran it on the inside and the outside of the mold, because you just cannot take a risk of this leaking at all. Okay, I now have the guitar body sealed down into the base of the mold with a full bead of caulk that goes all the way around. That's to prevent, it's to glue the body down to the bottom of the mold so it doesn't float up when the silicone's poured on top. And it also keeps the silicone from flowing anywhere underneath. So in order to test the waterproofness of the mold, as well as test how much silicone I'm going to need to fill the mold, I filled up this graduated bucket here with 4 liters of water and poured it, made sure that the mold was super level, poured it right up to the brim here at about 3.5 liters. My little silicone mold rubber kit has 920 milliliters per one of these. So multiplied by 2 kits, that's going to give me about 3,620 milliliters, or about 3.5 liters of silicone that I'm going to need. So I did have to order a second kit. So now that I knew the volume of silicone that I need to put in the mold to fill the mold, I figured it'd be nice to know how much epoxy am I going to need to actually cast the guitar that I want to make. So as a shout out to my junior high school geometry professor, here's what I thought of. So the mold itself is actually a trapezoid. The area of the trapezoid is 1/2 AB times height, A being the 2 parallel sides. The top short side was 10 centimeters, the bottom long side was 20 centimeters, and the total height was 78 centimeters. That calculates out to 1,170 centimeters squared. Now to get the volume of the total mold, then multiplying that by the depth of 5 centimeters gives me a total volume of the whole thing at 5,850 centimeters cubed, or 5.8 liters. 5.85 liters, that is. Now, if I know that the silicone volume that I poured into the volume was 3.5 liters, I can figure out how much the volume of the guitar body itself is by subtracting the silicone volume from the total volume. So 5.85 liters minus 3.5 liters. So a total of 2.35 liters is how much epoxy I'm going to need to build a guitar. And my junior high school teacher would be proud of me. so here is the mold made from our lap steel guitar body. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Even the fingerboard is in there. I think that will reproduce nicely. The mold itself stayed very much intact except for the edge boards that I nailed out here. I'm actually going to leave this intact in case I decide I want to make another epoxy mold, or I'm sorry, silicone mold down the line. Now, the trick is to get a flat board that I can put the mold on so that I can do my first prototype epoxy pour.
So after laying down a couple of layers of epoxy, I got some design inspiration, decided to throw some river rocks in the middle of the epoxy and then coat the last bottom layer with mica powder or a dark blue epoxy to make it look like water running through a river. So why not? Get a little creative, see what's happening with that.
So the body was casted in multiple pours using small volume and mixing it really slowly, so trying not to introduce too many bubbles. The time lapse looks like it's moving really fast, but actually I'm running the drill with the mixer really, really slow. Each layer then you would give time to cure and also use a butane torch to pop the bubbles as the within an hour or so of making a pour. So multiple pours, and then the final pour, color was added, including a blue mica powder to give it some shine. So demolding the guitar out of the mold was pretty easy. I did have to use a tongue depressor to wedge in between the tuning gear spaces there. But once I got a purchase, it came out really easily, really came out nice.
So the nice thing about these Rogue guitars is the stand that's built into the base of them. So I'm just matching the size of the holes here, the deep hole and then the surface hole, to put in these brackets that the stands screw right into. So that's a 2-inch surround hole, and it's an 1.25 inch Forstner bit to drill the deeper hole. So I'll mill those out in the body so that I can attach the stands. So jumping ahead to the finished product here, just got the electronics and the pickup and the bridge and the nut installed with the tuning gears and the stand as well. And I gotta say, I am pretty happy with the way this turned out. I have a little rope on the end to hang it on the wall with for display. And I'm really surprised at how blue the overall unit looks, because if you get way down underneath it, you'll see that it's actually clear through the middle. But if you're looking at it from above, it's definitely, the blue tone shines all the way through. So there you have it. Think about all the things you can build in epoxy just by making a form out of it, building a mold with silicone, pouring it in. Really, the options are endless. Hope you like it.
All right, there you go. I now have an epoxy made lap steel guitar, if I only knew how to play it. So I got a little work to do. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you like to leave a message, please be kind. I don't mind if you subscribe or not. I've got a day job. Anyway, thanks for visiting the fine line between stupid and clever, and let me know what you think. Have a great day.